Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about debt and a way to formulate a plan to help you get out of debt. If that's why you clicked on this video, be sure to stick around. My name's KT and this is Simple Living with KT, the place where we talk about the issues facing our lives in a simple and mindful way. For many people, getting out of debt is one of the hardest things you're going to do. That's why we're going to talk about a process and just kind of a checklist that you can go through when you're deciding to pay off debt and how to go about that. I put this outline together to help you be able to make incremental steps forward. Step one is going to be to establish an emergency fund. While of course you just want to throw as much money as humanly possible towards your debt, you're really going to wish you had an emergency fund if something like car maintenance or trips to the vet or trips to the emergency room come up, because that's where the emergency fund comes in, where you can pull money from that fund instead of having to figure something out like taking money away from bills or going back further into debt. Whether you're starting off with just $500 or you have a fully funded 3 to 6 months for your emergency fund, it is going to help. Every situation's different and everyone's kind of emotional cues are different to where they feel secure with their emergency fund. So I'm not going to say what you should do 100%. What I'd suggest though is think about things that have occurred in your life in the past. Are you in a job where you're able to find a position really quickly if something like a layoff happened? Do you have skills that are easily transferable? Do you have your own business and can kind of work harder or work more hours to be able to make more money? If that's so, then you may be able to, go towards the 3 months or just even a couple $1,000s to start with while you focus on paying off that debt. Step 2 is figure out how you're going to list your debts. And so you might hear a couple of things thrown about with being the best way ever to pay off your debt, but really this is all on you to decide for yourself. There's the debt snowball, which personally my husband and I used when we were paying off our $53,000 of debt, and that just worked well for us. And with that option, you list your debts from the smallest amount to the largest amount. You focus all your energy on that smallest debt while paying the minimum balance on all the other debts. After you finally get rid of that smallest payment, you then roll over what you were paying towards that to your second smallest debt and keep rolling the snowball until you get to the final big boss of debts and pay that one off. This option is really good for building momentum. The second option is to use the debt avalanche. And with this one, instead of listing your debts in order of their size, you're listing them in order of their interest rates. This is particularly because, of course, if you have a loan that your interest rate is 6% or your interest rate on a credit card is 23%, you'll be saving money in the long run by paying off that higher interest rate. The reason why, we did not go that route is because we like seeing that momentum of the debts one by one disappearing a little bit faster. That may be the right one for you. Something else I like to keep in mind is, in my opinion, with the debt snowball, you'll sooner see that your cash flow every single month starts to increase because you have fewer debts in total that you're paying towards. And for myself, that's a big deal, because that way, if something happens 1 month randomly for an emergency, sometimes I was able just to, not pay as much towards my debt and then cover it with just my regular cash flow. With something like the debt avalanche, with having all of the debts seemingly for a little bit longer of time, because the debt with the highest interest rate might be the largest debt. So you'll just be kind of paying the minimum debts on all of your debts and just carrying them around for a little bit longer, while in the long run still saving money on that interest that you're paying. But again, that is up to you. And there actually is a third option I always want to bring up, and that is emotional pain. Because I know sometimes you have to borrow from families and friends, and you might have, I don't know, a bookie or a loan shark or something. And let's be honest, if there's something that is causing you emotional turmoil, in my opinion, that should go on the top of the list. And so whether you choose to do the debt avalanche or the debt snowball, really think about, is there any particular debt that you want to focus on to make sure that you get out of the way, because it's causing you just a little bit of mental health that you can't afford right now. The next thing I'd recommend focusing on is finding ways to prioritize your debt. And of course, you listed your debts out and you know how much you're paying on them every single month. That is a great step in taking control of your finances. The next level above that is prioritizing. Maybe you've been eating lunch at work, but you're getting it from the little cafe that they have there. They have discounted rates, and that's great. But let me tell you something. When I suggested to my then boyfriend, now husband, to start cooking at home instead of eating out at work, he saved over $400 a month. And you're probably thinking, what the heck was he eating at work? And it was Chick-fil-A. It was Chick-fil-A every single day, you know, no discounts there. He did get a lot of rewards points, but he ended up spending about $160 on groceries every single month when he started cooking and bringing his lunch to work. And honestly, he was eating a lot better food. No offense to Chick-fil-A, but they are definitely not the healthiest option out there. So for your life, think about ways that you could start prioritizing that debt. Is there something coming up where you perhaps are ready to pay an expense? Is there a more affordable option? Is there a free option that you can choose to do? If so, it might be time to just choose that free option or that lower cost option. And also, it is time to think about lowering your expenses. I know there are so many people out there who say, canceling coffee is not going to make you a millionaire. And I understand where they are coming from. But for many people who are living paycheck to paycheck, an extra $100 in the budget is a game changer. It is the difference between going deeper into debt or being able to take a step forward. When you're taking your debt seriously, it's time to think about those temporary, remember I say temporary, sacrifices that you can make that will make your future a whole lot brighter. Also, don't discount things like reaching out to your cable company and seeing what they can do on the bill. Our bill was about to go up to $120 every single month. We called the company and they put us on a month-to-month plan that's only $80. And so instead of our bill jumping literally $50 every single month, it just jumped $10. We never would have experienced if we just never would have called. So if you don't try, you're not going to get anything. After the emergency fund and figuring out the order that you're paying out the debt, there's no priority list about what you need to do next as far as cutting expenses or, you know, maybe changing from cooking foods at home instead of eating out as often. That really is going to be up to you, but these are just suggestions. But moving forward, after you consider those items, something else that you can do, and I certainly recommend doing, is starting to really think about what an emergency is. Because everyone, when you get the emergency fund, for many people, it's the first time they've had a real chunk of money to the side that they can kind of do whatever with. And that is great. However, recognize that every time you dip into that emergency fund, you're gonna have to pay it back. And that honestly is gonna be time that adds to the paying off debt experience. Now, of course, if your car's transmission goes out or you just need a whole new car, completely understand. Where I want to emphasize this point though is, let's say you start a new job and the uniform is not like anything you have in your closet already. You could go out and get the first thing you see out to the stores and purchase it, not really thinking about the price because you need the clothes to start work. That is true. However, on the other hand, you could do a little bit of shopping around, seeing if you're able to, go to a Goodwill or go to a Ross or go to a outlet store that has good quality clothing that you can choose from at a lesser price. Or something else that pops up in my mind is honestly food. Food, of course, is a necessity for everyone, but I have seen people go into their emergency fund, honestly, just for a little $20 here and a little $20 there, because while they're out, they also go out to eat. And they really didn't plan to have to eat, but they didn't eat before they left. It really puts you in a sticky situation because food is a necessity. If that's something that you've noticed for yourself, that you're kind of falling into that kind of habit, it might be time to really think about when you're going out, okay, what can I eat before I leave? So maybe I'll be tempted, but I won't need to eat out. Also with cars, something that I've seen is people going into debt for a repair that could have waited. Like the mechanic says, hey, just something to let you know, you're going to need to upgrade X, Y, and Z in the future. Many of us, don't really know a whole bunch about cars. And so if the mechanic that we know and trust is telling us that something needs to be done, we are ready and more than willing to get that taken care of. But sometimes it might be worth it to wait that 6 weeks to make sure you have it in the budget and then having that repair taken care of. And of course, talk to your mechanic. I am no mechanic. Talk to your mechanic because they'll tell you what is able to wait on and what's not able and what is not safe and what could cause greater damage to your car in the future. And many of you may have homes as well, and it also might be time to think about what can you DIY around your house. Maybe the faucet's leaking, maybe the toilet's leaking, you can hear it running all times of the day. It might be time to, roll up those sleeves and see what is safe and reasonable for you to DIY yourself. You may realize you are a lot more handy than you thought. And I'll tell you, when you start thinking about creative ways that you can save money or, are able to prioritize the time to be able to save that money, you'll start realizing that you're able to prioritize those debts a little bit more, pay more down, and start seeing more cash flow coming in every single month, and you'll start to see just how worth it all really is. And thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you got some value out of it. If you are someone who is paying off debt and just needs a little bit more guidance or help adjusting that mindset to help you pay off debt, please check out the link in the description for my course, Abundance in a Budget. When you click on the link, you'll get access to a free 5-day budget challenge. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.